Well, he's been called the new age Supersage, and he's won millions of adherents for his message of mindfulness and self care. I'm joined now by author and alternative medicine guru, Dr. Deepak Chopra. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Anne. Thanks.
So, Dr. Chopra, you're going to be in Jacksonville on January 15th as part of the Florida Forum Speaker Series. We're talking a little more than a week before that. And one of the reasons we're talking today is because you're about to embark on a silent retreat. Tell us a little bit about what that is. How often do you do those and what purpose do they serve?
Well, I used to do them twice a year and then uh, once a year, and I'm getting back into trying to do them twice a year. So, for about a week to 10 days, I take off from everything digital. So, no emails, no text messages, no TV, no entertainment, no radio, no books, and I spend the week in total solitude and silence. I have one meal a day, and I I reflect on my life and on my next chapter. I'm now 78 years old. So in my tradition, there are four chapters. They're called ashrams. First 25 years is education. Second 25 years is fame and fortune. Third 25 years is giving back. And now I'm in my fourth 25 years, which is meant to be for self realization, spiritual enlightenment, and preparation for death.
Those four
So that,
stages sound great. I guess that's if everything sort of goes as planned. Is that right? Not
yes, it doesn't matter. It's just a template for what. If you're fully awake, then every season is the best season in your life.
So let's talk about being fully awake. I mean, one of the things that you espouse is that basically our minds can control and kind of really help determine our health, our reality in some ways. Certainly, our perception of the world. And explain what you mean when you talk about our perception shaping reality. Also, just being very specific to our viewpoint as a culture or even as a species.
Yeah, so actually, it's not the mind, it's our awareness. And the mind is a particular modified expression of what we call awareness or consciousness. So, awareness by itself is a field of experience. Right now, you're having an experience, you're speaking to me. So, where is this experience happening? And this has been called the mind body problem for thousands of years. And some people would say this experience is happening on your screen. Some people would say it's happening in your eyes. The experience of seeing is happening in the eyes. Some people would say it's happening in the brain. But actually, you will find no experience of color, shape, sound, texture, flavor, or smell anywhere in any location. There's no color red in my brain or yours. There's no image of me in your brain or yours. There's no image of the world in your brain or anyone else's brain. Uh, in other words, there's no experience in anything that we call physical. What we see in the brain are called biological correlates, neural correlates in their form of neurochemicals. So you're not experiencing neurochemicals, you're experiencing the sound of somebody that you identify as Deepak Chopra. So, where is this experience happening? And the only reasonable answer is it's happening in awareness or consciousness.
I think I understand how that awareness could certainly help with things like health, mindfulness. But how does that sense of perception apply to real world challenges? When we talk about war, pollution, the condition of the planet, the political scene.
Very good, because those challenges that you just mentioned are actually, if we don't address them, we are sleepwalking to extinction. Climate change, economic and social injustice, chronic disease, war, terrorism, nuclear weapons, drones, mechanized ways of killing ourselves and killing each other, and the destruction of species. All this is because we are sleepwalking to extinction. There's no creativity in our political world, in our religious world, in our business world. If we had the fundamental creativity that comes from actually identifying with your spirit, which is the field of infinite creativity and fundamental reality, we are at a crossroads. One road leads to extinction. And, anytime I post something about climate change on social media, a lot of people get upset with me. And yet the evidence is there for climate change. Every time we talk about mechanized death and war, we think that's the only solution to solve our problems. It's been recycling for since medieval times. So we have medieval tribal minds and modern capacities for self destruction, which is a perfect recipe for extinction. And, if there are 2 trillion galaxies, then it doesn't matter. The dinosaurs went extinct and we emerged as an evolutionary experiment. So
So
maybe we are failing as an evolutionary species,
so,
or
I mean,
maybe we wake up.
I mean, ideally, if people were mindful and not sleepwalking to extinction, as you say, we would be avoiding some of those. But practically speaking, how do you encourage people to, like, cope with that element of the world, those realities, given that the whole world is not in alignment with your
Well,
suggestions?
if we are in denial, then that's the first step. The first step is to recognize these as facts. The fact of war as a failed way to solve problems, the fact of terrorism as a failed way to solve creatively social and economic and whatever injustice we are having. So, first is to recognize that medieval minds and modern capacities don't go together. The next step is how can we effect change? And I'm a big fan of technology and AI. I have my own digital Deepak or whatever you call it, deepakchopra.ai. I've written a book on AI. I'm in conversation with Sam Altman, who is, the CEO of AI, Open AI. I go to the World Economic Forum, which I'm going after I come to Florida. I attend these conferences where people get together, including the United Nations, to get in touch with the creative solutions. And the fact is, we have creative solutions for climate change. We have creative solutions for conflict resolution. Doesn't matter whether it's Gaza or anywhere else. Economic solutions for social and economic injustice. We have actually creative solutions to repair the biosphere, to even actually change our gene activity. We have gene editing coming up. We have messenger RNA. The technologies are there. We are not having the right conversations and we are not emotionally invested because we are sleepwalking, as I said. We become biological robots with medieval minds and modern technologies.
So you're coming to town, to Jacksonville to an event that's hosted by the Women's Board of Wolfson Children's Hospital. It's a fundraising effort for their new pediatric critical care transport vehicles. What, though, will you be talking about in Jacksonville? What can people expect to hear from you?
I intend to be very practical, so I'm going to talk about, first of all the innovations in medicine and science that have occurred in the last maybe 2 decades, from artificial intelligence to messenger RNA to neuroplasticity to the microbiome to epigenetics. And I'm also going to show how technology can actually help us address these problems. But addressing these problems is not enough. We need an emotional and spiritual awakening to actually be emotionally invested in these issues of understand that what we call the environment or the biosphere is our extended body. Without trees we wouldn't breathe, and nor would they. The earth is recycling as our body. The rivers and oceans are our circulation, and the air is our breath. So we have these dualistic words. There's me and the rest of the universe. In fact, the entire universe is contained in you as a biological organism, and you and the environment are at a deeper level one reality. Unless we wake up to that experience emotionally and spiritually, all the science and all the technology is going to be useless.
Well, Dr. Deepak Chopra, I know it'll be a fascinating appearance when you're here in Jacksonville on the 15th. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Anne, for having me. It's a privilege.
And we'll be back in just a minute. Well, we were talking to Deepak Chopra there. His appearance next Wednesday at the Jacksonville Center for the Performing Arts will be moderated by Jaguars owner Shad Khan. If you're interested in attending, tickets are available at thefloridaforum.com.